As part of my lesson, we'll be looking at humans in space. One resource we'll be using is free and open to everyone, but confusing to use. So for this open educational resource, I'm going to show you how to use another resource. As part of looking at humans in space, I would like students to appreciate the amount of work and expertise that's part of putting a human in space. A guy by the name of Ben Feist has created a pretty amazing resource. It's called Apollo in Real Time. You can go along with the mission as if it was happening right now. However, there is so much here. There's 50 different communication loops running at any given time, and pictures and videos. So if you're interested in using this in a classroom, it's a great idea, but here's some things to know. So I'm going to look at Apollo 13. This year is the 50th anniversary of Apollo 13, and there'll be a lot of things going on around it in the next coming weeks. So I'm going to join it T-minus 1 minute to launch. So hopefully you can hear that. You can hear the actual audio of what's going on. There's pictures to go along with it. If there are video content, it'll be right here. One thing to note, I'm looking up in the corner, you have the date and time that this actually happened, and you have the ground elapsed time. Ground elapsed time is how we time space missions, and think of it as at launch it's 0, and it starts counting up until they land. Over on the top right hand, we have the scrubbers. The top is the mission timelines. The authors have put points of interest in there, but you can scroll through the whole mission. NASA launched missions in the different time zones, so keep that in mind. If you're using other space resources, you may notice that they have Greenwich Mean Time or GMT. I know it's confusing. When you're doing research, you probably don't want to listen to this entire 6-day mission, so use these scrubbers on top to find out what you're looking for. Under the time, you'll see videos, pictures that are happening during the mission. They'll show up when you're listening and when you get to that part of the mission. Keep in mind there's not much video. They didn't exactly have FaceTime with the astronauts, so most of this experience is audio. Let me go to right before the explosion. Down here, you also can control you have photography, mission control audio, and spacecraft details. We're going to look at mission control audio. And in the lower left, you have the transcript. All right, now it gets a little confusing. All of these little boxes in the middle represent communication channels. Over here is where they all sit. You can actually see, as I move my mouse around, the different little seats lighting up. What you don't see is all the people in back rooms. So the flight surgeon will sit at his station, but he can communicate with people in this room, the command room, or as doctors in a back room. In fact, after the explosion on 13, over 350 people were at what is now Johnson Space Center, helping to work the problems to bring the 3 men home. You can see where they're actually sitting, and you can actually click on their seats to get the right channels. What you're hearing. In your left ear, you're going to hear space-to-ground communications, and in your right ear, you're going to hear the Capcom loop. When you click on other channels, you'll hear those over both of them. You can switch channels to hear different parts. What the retro guy is saying, what the Guido guy, that's guidance, is saying. Just a few more things. NASA History Department, where I have some experience, has tons of online resources. If you're loving hearing all this chatter, there is an annotated script, kind of, transcript of the entire mission with commentary and pictures to help you better understand it. It reads like a play with stage directions. I've read it in its entirety and loved it. Also, in a few weeks, when we're at the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 13 mission, you can follow all of NASA History's social media. We'll be live tweeting, and other NASA social media accounts will be posting content as well. Hopefully this resource will help you in your research and help you learn just a little bit more about space history.